I've decided to start a new series where throughout the course of the year I will be explaining things for those people who are new to F1 or aren't entirely sure why F1 does this. And we are just going to call it F1 the basics. And in this episode today we're going to be talking about preseason testing since it's now actually started. Like so much so I've even actually got it on my projector screen from last night's coverage. So what is preseason testing, and does any of the results mean anything for 2025? So preseason testing is a 3-day event that's actually held at Bahrain, which gives a chance for all 10 teams to shake down the car before the new season actually starts. During this time, the teams will actually gather data, test reliability, but also test any changes from the previous season's car, including things like aerodynamics, for example, that have only ever had time in a wind tunnel. But also the other thing is to test out tyres, but also test any kind of setups that they might be looking for the season ahead and seeing if that will actually work for qualifying or the race. Now, from yesterday's sessions that were actually held, we actually saw that McLaren, Mercedes and also Red Bull were topping the timesheets, and you might think, oh wow, it looks like it's going to be them dominating this season. Or the fact that Lewis Hamilton was actually down in P12 by the end of both sessions, people might want to think, oh, well, maybe was that move to Ferrari a good idea? And potentially could Lewis be in trouble? Well, hang on a minute. Let's actually talk about this. Let's have a corridor about this. Testing results are pretty misleading and are not conducive towards what results we might actually predict in 2025 at a race situation. The other thing also that's actually really important to note is that in comparison to previous seasons, F1 is not having a 1-week break before they start their first season in Bahrain. They're actually going to Australia for their first round, which is a completely different circuit. So what you see on the time right now is not conducive to what we will see in 2025. Teams don't actually show their true speed in testing. What they're doing is actually testing different fuel loads, engine modes and other different computer setups that might be actually associated with the car, since it is a completely new car for the new season. And when we have people like Lewis, for example, who was going to Ferrari after being at Mercedes for over a decade, this gives him an opportunity to actually learn a different type of steering wheel, a different kind of thing. Yes, it is kind of true that actually some teams do intentionally sandbag during testing. Well, other teams, they might do a couple of Hail Marys, for example, and well, that doesn't actually reflect the true speed or the true pace that they will see in a race weekend. A great example of this was actually Ferrari in 2019, who actually had great speed all through preseason testing. However, they had a pretty mediocre season. Or another example being Aston Martin in 2023, when they didn't really show big headline grabbing results in preseason testing. Then all of a sudden they were actually grabbing podiums at the start of the season. So enjoy the hype that preseason testing started, and officially the F1 season has actually started. But with them actually starting in Australia in 2 weeks' time, don't take these times too seriously. If they were starting in Bahrain in a week, it might have been a different story, because usually by day 3 is usually what we might see for an estimated qualifying run. So really, we're only going to know once the first round at the Australian Grand Prix to see what teams are going to be looking like. Make sure to follow and subscribe to my page, and if you like anything that I see, I also do tips and advice videos as to going to a Grand Prix, as well as any other kind of chat about F1 news throughout the season as well. Let's get ready for the season. I'm super excited at least, and peace out, guys.